There comes a moment in every woman's life when the noise fades, the doors close, and silence becomes the only companion. You look around and realize there is no one, no friend to call, no shoulder to lean on, no hand to hold. And in that moment, you either break or you break free. Being a woman with no friends doesn't mean you're unwanted. It doesn't mean you're unworthy. Sometimes it just means life has chosen a different path for you, a quieter, deeper one. When people walk away from you, it's not always a tragedy. Sometimes it's grace in disguise. Because in their absence, you meet someone extraordinary, yourself. You begin to understand that being alone is not a punishment. It's a preparation. It's where your spirit is rebuilt. It's rebuilt. It's where your heart gets louder, your voice clearer, your presence stronger. You start becoming your own best friend. You learn to sit with your pain and not run from it. You learn to enjoy your own company, not escape from it. You stop begging to be seen and begin seeing yourself. The world may not clap for your silent victories. No one may notice when you conquer an anxiety, when you get out of bed on a hard day, when you choose peace over reaction. But you will know, and that, my dear, is enough. So if you are a woman with no friends, let me tell you, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are becoming. You are blooming in solitude, rising in silence, and walking a path few have the courage to tread. Do not chase the crowd, build your crown, because the woman who learns to walk alone learns to lead herself. Loneliness is not a weakness, it's an invitation to self-discovery. True growth often begins in silence and solitude, but it doesn't feel that way in the beginning. It feels heavy, it feels cold, it feels like something is missing. When you sit alone in a quiet room, the silence can be deafening. The absence of laughter, conversation, and companionship can feel like an unbearable void. But what if that void is not emptiness, but space? Space being made for something more powerful to enter. What if that silence isn't your enemy, but your mirror? When the noise of the world fades and the people who once filled your days grow distant, that's when you begin to meet the person who has always been there, but was buried under distractions, you. Loneliness is life's way of slowing you down so you can hear your own thoughts, your own voice, your own heart. It is in this silence that you begin to ask questions that matter. Who am I without them? Or what do I want? Or what am I capable of? Questions that don't come when you're constantly surrounded by chatter and chaos. Most people fear loneliness because it confronts them with themselves. And the truth is, we can run from many things in life, but we can never outrun ourselves. When the outside world becomes quiet, the inner world gets loud. You start to feel things you never gave yourself permission to feel. Old wounds surface, fears reveal themselves. Memories come back, not to haunt you, but to be healed. And while that process is uncomfortable, it's also transformative, because real growth is never glamorous. It's raw, it's messy, and it almost always begins in solitude. In loneliness, you begin to understand your own patterns. You notice how often you sought validation, how much of your worth you tied to being needed, how quickly you abandoned your own needs just to keep others close. You see the masks you wore, the roles you played, all in the name of belonging. But loneliness strips all of that away. It removes the audience so you can stop performing. It gives you the freedom to be honest, with no fear of judgment, no pressure to please, no need to explain. And somewhere along the way, you stop feeling like a victim of your solitude and start seeing it as a sanctuary. You begin to enjoy your own company. You discover hobbies you love, passions that light you up, dreams you had put on hold. You cook for yourself not because someone is coming over, but because you deserve a good meal. You dress up not for a crowd, but for the reflection in the mirror. You walk, you breathe, you create, and you realize how much beauty there is in simply being. Loneliness teaches you emotional independence. You no longer need others to complete you. You become whole on your own. You learn to comfort yourself on bad days. You learn to celebrate your wins, even if no one else notices. You become your own source of peace. And from that place, when people do come into your life, it's not because you need them to fill a void. It's because you want to share your fullness. Relationships built from that place are rooted in authenticity, not desperation. True growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows. It happens in the shadows. It happens when you are sitting alone at midnight, crying and healing, and trying to understand why life had to be this way. It happens when you wipe your own tears, pick yourself back up, and decide to try again. It happens when you stop waiting for someone to rescue you and realize that the hero you were waiting for is already within you. Loneliness may feel like an empty room at first, but if you sit with it long enough, you see it's actually a classroom. Every quiet moment is a lesson, wasn't? Every lonely night is a chapter, and if you keep walking through it, you'll come out not just stronger, but clearer, wiser, and more in tune with yourself than you've ever been. So, yes, loneliness is not a weakness, it's a sacred opportunity. It's an unmarked path leading you back to your essence. A hidden gift disguised as a difficult season. A silent teacher showing you the depths of who you truly are. And once you embrace it, you'll never see solitude the same way again. Being friendless doesn't make you less worthy. In a world that often places so much importance on social connections, popularity, and the number of friends you have, it's easy to feel like your value is diminished if you find yourself standing alone. Society has a way of measuring worth by external validation. How many people know you? How many people appreciate you? How many people want to be near you? But the truth is, your worth was never meant to be defined by the crowd around you. It has always been inherent in who you are, in the depth of your soul, and in the strength you carry within. When we live in a society that thrives on social interaction, it's understandable to equate connection with value. We are taught from a young age that friendships and relationships are a reflection of who we are, that the more people we have in our lives, the more lovable, important, or successful we must be. But this belief, though common is flawed. It can lead us into a dangerous cycle of seeking validation and acceptance from others, constantly measuring our self-worth based on their opinions, preferences, and judgments. And when the number of friends diminishes or when we feel isolated, it can leave us questioning our own value, wondering if something is wrong with us, as though we are somehow less deserving of love or companionship. But the reality is that true worth is not about the number of people around you. It's about the connection you have with yourself. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you build with yourself. And it's in that relationship that your value is truly anchored. The way you speak to yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you embrace your flaws and celebrate your strengths, that's where your worth lies. When you learn to truly connect with yourself, you start to understand that you don't need to be surrounded by a group of people to feel whole. Your wholeness is already within you. The strength you seek in others can be found in your own heart. The more deeply you connect with yourself, the less dependent you become on external sources of validation. You no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. You no longer need to justify your presence, your dreams, or your voice. Because you know that your value comes from the way you show up in the world, the way you live with integrity, the way you honor your true essence. When we face periods of loneliness or isolation, it's important to remember that being without a social circle doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's simply a season that, if embraced, can lead to profound growth. In those moments, you have the opportunity to truly get to know who you are without the noise of others. You can learn what brings you peace, what makes you happy, what you're passionate about. You can explore your own talents and abilities, nurture your mind, body, and spirit, and create a sense of fulfillment that doesn't rely on the presence or approval of anyone else. In fact, often it's during our loneliest times that we experience the greatest self-discovery. We realize how much strength we actually possess to stand on our own. We begin to listen to our inner voice and trust our instincts. We let go of the need to fit into someone else's mold and embrace the freedom of being unapologetically ourselves. And in doing so, we attract people who resonate with that authenticity, people who value us for who we truly are, not for the image we project to gain acceptance. When you understand that your value is not tied to the number of people around you, you stop seeking external affirmation. You no longer live in fear of rejection or judgment because you've learned that it's not about pleasing others. It's about being true to yourself. The depth of your self-awareness and the strength of your self-acceptance become the foundation for your worth. And from this place, you create relationships that are based on genuine connection, not neediness or dependence. It's also crucial to recognize that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. And that's okay. Friendships, like all relationships, evolve. People change, circumstances change, and sometimes paths diverge. But just because someone leaves your life, or you go through a phase where you have fewer people around, doesn't mean your value has diminished. It's simply a reflection of the ebb and flow of life. There will always be people who come and go, but your worth will remain constant because it is not determined by their presence. Moreover, learning to be comfortable in your own company is one of the most empowering things you can. It's not about rejecting others or being antisocial. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't depend on their approval or validation. When you connect with yourself on a deep level, you create a life where your happiness isn't contingent on anyone else. You don't wait for someone else to fill your cup. You fill it yourself. You become your own source of comfort, strength, and joy. And when you do choose to open yourself up to new friendships or relationships, you do so from a place of wholeness, not need. You are no longer searching for people to complete you. You are already complete, and you invite others into your life to share in that completeness. This leads to healthier, more fulfilling relationships, as you are no longer seeking someone to save you, but rather to walk alongside you. In the end, being friendless doesn't mean you are less worthy. It simply means you are in a season of self discovery, of building the relationship with yourself that will form the foundation of all other relationships in your life. And once you realize that, you will see that your value has always been within you, not dependent on who is around you, but on how deeply you have learned to connect with yourself. Self love is the most loyal friendship you'll ever experience. When the world feels unpredictable and people let you down, there's one companion that never abandons you: yourself. Self love isn't just a feel good concept, it's the foundation for a life filled with strength, resilience, and clarity. It's not about perfecting yourself or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about showing up for yourself through every high and every low, being compassionate with yourself when you stumble, and finding ways to heal when you hurt. The world will often present you with circumstances that challenge your worth. People may criticize you, misunderstand you, or walk away from you. Situations may test your limits, and obstacles may block your path. During these moments, it's easy to look outside of yourself for validation, searching for reassurance in others, hoping that someone will tell you you're enough, that you matter. But here's the truth: no one can offer you the kind of loyalty and unwavering support that you can offer yourself. No one can give you the level of understanding and patience that you can provide to yourself, and no one can fuel your growth the way self-love can. When you love yourself, you stop looking for someone else to fill the voids. You stop seeking approval or waiting for others to affirm your worth. You stop measuring your value by the standards of others because you've learned that your value doesn't need to be validated by anyone but you. This isn't about selfishness. It's about creating a relationship with yourself that is built on respect, trust, and kindness. You learn to accept yourself, flaws and all, recognizing that the imperfections you once saw as weaknesses are the very things that make you uniquely you. This type of self-love is the key to resilience. Life doesn't always go as planned, and things will go wrong, sometimes in ways that feel unfair or overwhelming. During those times, your self-love becomes your shield. It allows you to pick yourself up when you fall, to try again when you fail, and to believe in yourself even when others might not. It's the quiet voice within that whispers, "You are strong enough to get through this, even when everything around you seems uncertain." Resilience isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking and choosing to rise again. It's about embracing the discomfort, learning from the pain, and growing stronger as a result. Resilience born of self-love also means recognizing when it's time to let go. It's knowing when to stand your ground and when to walk away from situations or people who drain your energy or diminish your spirit. Self-love gives you the clarity to understand that you don't have to fight every battle and you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You simply have to honor your own needs, listen to your own heart, and make choices that are in alignment with your own well-being. Through self-love, you also begin to build confidence. Confidence isn't about being perfect or never doubting yourself. It's about accepting yourself as you are, recognizing your worth, and trusting that you are enough. When you love yourself, you stop questioning your decisions, your voice, and your presence in the world. You no longer seek permission to take up space. You embrace the truth that you have something valuable to offer, that your voice matters, and that your contributions are worthy of attention. Self-love breeds confidence because it teaches you to trust yourself, your instincts, your intuition, your ability to navigate life's challenges. You become your own biggest supporter. Instead of second-guessing yourself or apologizing for your existence, you learn to celebrate your strengths and embrace your quirks. Confidence, when it is rooted in self-love, is unwavering because it doesn't depend on external circumstances. It's grounded in the unwavering truth that you are enough, just as you are. The journey of self-love also brings clarity. It clears the mental fog that often arises when we try to seek approval from others or live up to their expectations. When you love yourself, you stop being confused by the opinions of others because you become so connected to your own values and desires that you no longer need to seek outside affirmation. Your path becomes clearer because you are aligned with your truth, or they are aligned with your truth. You know what matters to you, what you stand for, and what your next steps should be. Clarity comes when you stop doubting yourself and trust your inner guidance. It's the peace that comes with knowing who you are, where you're going, and why you're on this journey. In moments of self-doubt, self-love reminds you of your inherent worth. It encourages you to keep going even when it feels easier to quit. It challenges you to be gentle with yourself when you make mistakes, to forgive yourself when you falter, and to continue moving forward despite setbacks. It isn't always easy to practice self-love, especially in a world that often pushes us to compare ourselves to others. But when you cultivate this relationship with yourself, it becomes a source of unwavering support that never wavers. True self-love requires you to get to know yourself on a deeper level. It's a journey inward, one where you confront your fears, your insecurities, your doubts, and your past wounds. It's about acknowledging the parts of you that need healing and embracing those parts with compassion. Self-love is the foundation for emotional health. It allows you to set boundaries that protect your peace, to speak your truth without fear of judgment, and to give yourself permission to take up space in the world. It's about knowing that you are worthy of love, not because of what you do, but simply because of who you are. The relationship you have with yourself is the longest one you will ever have. It's the only relationship that you can't run from, that you can't escape, and that you can't trade for something better. And when you make the commitment to love yourself deeply, the rewards are immeasurable. Resilience is born in that self-love. Confidence arises from it. And clarity emerges from the peace that comes with knowing you are enough. When you love yourself fully, you give yourself the gift of a life lived authentically, with the strength to rise after every fall, and the wisdom to walk your path with unwavering belief in who you are. You don't need a crowd to rise. You only need the courage to walk alone. It's a powerful statement, one that challenges the conventional notion that we need to be surrounded by others to succeed, to feel validated, or to find our way. We live in a world that constantly promotes connection, collaboration, and social interaction as the pathways to fulfillment. We're taught that to rise, we must do so together, with others by our side, offering encouragement and support. But the truth is, you don't need a crowd to rise. The only thing you truly need is the courage to walk alone. Walking alone is a daunting concept for many, especially in a society that places such high value on social approval and belonging. The fear of being alone often translates into the fear of being unloved, unwanted, or unseen. We may feel like something is wrong with us if we find ourselves walking a solitary path, and we may begin to doubt our ability to succeed on our own. But the truth is, the most powerful and transformative moments of our lives often occur when we are alone, when we strip away the noise of the world, the opinions of others, and the pressure of fitting in. Solitude gives us the space to truly listen to ourselves, to hear our thoughts, our fears, our desires, and our truths without distraction. It's in solitude that we find clarity. We can examine our goals, reassess our values, and evaluate our decisions with no outside influence clouding our judgment. When you're alone, you're not swayed by others' expectations or influenced by their opinions. You get to define who you are, what you want, and where you're going. And when you embrace solitude, you give yourself the permission to grow, to change, and to evolve into the person you were always meant to be without the constraints of others' perceptions. Choosing to walk alone is an act of courage. It means choosing to be your own source of strength, your own support system, your own inspiration. It means trusting yourself even when the path ahead seems uncertain, even when the world around you is loud and chaotic. It means choosing to believe in your ability to navigate life's challenges, even when you don't have the comfort of a crowd cheering you on. The courage to walk alone is not about rejecting others or isolating yourself from the world. It's about choosing to stand firm in your own truth, to walk a path that is uniquely yours, even if it's different from what others expect of you. When you embrace solitude, you also begin to realize the power of self-reliance. In a crowd, it's easy to rely on others for guidance, encouragement, or validation. But when you walk alone, you learn that you are capable of finding your own way. You learn how to solve your own problems, how to find your own answers, and how to support yourself when no one else is around. Solitude teaches you that you don't need anyone else to give you permission to move forward. You have the power within you to take the next step, to make the next decision, to create your own success. Walking alone also teaches resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and there will be times when you feel like giving up, when the road ahead seems too difficult, or when the weight of the world feels unbearable. In those moments, it's easy to want to lean on others, to seek comfort in the presence of friends, family, or loved ones. But it is often when you are alone that you discover the strength you never knew you had. When there is no one else to lean on, you learn to stand on your own, to face adversity head on, and to find your way through the darkness. Solitude forces you to rely on your inner strength, and through this reliance, you discover resilience that you may not have known existed. There's also a profound sense of freedom that comes with walking alone. When you're surrounded by others, there's often an unconscious pressure to conform, to meet expectations, to fit into a certain mold. But when you walk alone, you are free from that pressure. You have the freedom to be yourself, to follow your own dreams, and to make choices that align with your values and passions. Solitude allows you to break free from the need to please others and instead focus on what truly makes you happy. You no longer need to seek approval from the crowd. You get to define your own success and happiness. In fact, walking alone can lead to the most profound personal growth. When you are alone, you face yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You confront your fears, insecurities, and your doubts. You're forced to acknowledge your weaknesses and work through them. You learn how to handle rejection, how to cope with failure, and how to move forward when things don't go as planned. It's through these struggles that you grow, and it's in solitude that you find the space to heal, reflect, and improve. You realize that you don't need anyone else's approval to be worthy of success or happiness. You are enough, just as you are, and you have the power to create the life you want. Walking alone also leads to a deeper understanding of your own desires and aspirations. In a crowd, it's easy to be swayed by others' opinions or to take on goals that are not truly your own, But when you are alone, you have the space to explore your own passions, to understand what drives you, and to pursue what truly excites you. You begin to connect with your authentic self, and in doing so, you gain a deeper understanding of your purpose. Solitude allows you to find the courage to pursue your dreams without the need for external validation. Solitude can be your greatest strength if you choose to embrace it. It's in those quiet moments when you're walking alone that you connect with your inner power, your true potential, and your own voice. It is not a path of loneliness or isolation, but a path of self-discovery, empowerment, and growth. By embracing solitude, you give yourself the freedom to become the person you are meant to be, to face life's challenges with confidence, and to rise above any obstacles that come your way. You realize that you don't need a crowd to rise. You only need the courage to walk alone.